Según el Ministerio de Salud Público palestino en Ramallah, asesinan más de 10.700 personas en Gaza durante el territorio controlado por Hamas desde el último ataque en Israel ha sido de Hamas luna pasada. Mester dice que alguna península de Palestina ahora completamente de ruina y ahora que ni Israel y ni Hamas quieren stop la guerra, te espera que algún ayuda lo llegue a residentes que ahora te pega de bombardeonan. John Lawrence de CNN con el reportaje.
As explosions continue to pound parts of northern Gaza, people inside the region say there's a desperate need of humanitarian supplies and assistance.
What you guys are seeing on social media and on TVs is actually 2% of the reality. So know that we're dying here. If we're not dead physically, we're dead inside.
Israeli officials have agreed to halt military action daily for 4 hours in areas of northern Gaza so that residents can flee south.
About 3 hours before the pauses will begin, the Israelis will, through a variety of means, notify civilians living in northern Gaza that the pause is going to start, and here's when, and also advise on the safest corridor, the safest passage out.
But some say these pauses won't make much of a difference, and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says there will be no ceasefire until Hamas releases its hostages. On Thursday, the Senate unanimously passed a resolution that condemns Hamas, quote, for its premeditated, coordinated, and brutal terrorist attacks on Israel. President Joe Biden posted a statement saying Israel has an obligation to, quote, fully comply with international law.
Any government in the world that does not support immediate ceasefire becomes a participant and supportive of discontinuous war crimes that are happening in Gaza.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
El cuerpo de policía de Los Ángeles investigando un caso de pelea que pasa para fora del Museo de Tolerancia. Y nanta camina con el grupo Pro-Israel y Pro-Palestina a enfrentar otro después de mirar una película de un local privado que la defensa israelí a filma y hinca en otro. El film mustra escena de ataque de parte de Hamas riba Israel el 7 de octubre. Stephanie Elam de CNN tiene más de historia aquí.
Clashes at LA's Museum of Tolerance over a documentary screened inside. The end to a night of intense emotion.
I couldn't watch all of it either. It's difficult.
The film, called Bearing Witness, features more than 40 minutes of actual footage of the October 7th Hamas attacks. Actor Gal Gadot, who is from Israel and has been outspoken on social media since the attacks, was involved in bringing the film to LA, according to multiple reports, but she was not in attendance. And most of the roughly 200 attendees had left the event by the time this brawl broke out between pro-Israel and pro-Palestinian demonstrators. Before the film even started, a small pro-Palestinian demonstration formed outside the theater as LAPD officers screened vehicles and circled the museum. Some of the attendees say they felt compelled to see the atrocities with their own eyes.
We need to fight against terrorism. And in order to see it, in order to fight it, you have to see it and believe it and feel it.
We say L'dor Vador from generation to generation, and people should know. And I can't know exactly what it was unless I watch it.
The Hollywood Reporter, which was inside the screening, reports that the protests were audible through the wall of the theater, prompting an Israel Defense Forces spokesperson who introduced the film to tell the audience they believe some are trying to cast doubt on the Hamas attacks, saying, quote, I believe we are hearing some of it right now outside. The LAPD said the event concluded with no issues, but that 1 hour later, a small group of demonstrators returned, leading to the brawl. Violence outside that attendees say won't overshadow the atrocities they saw inside on screen.
I will carry it with me to pass that story on to the next generation and the next generation.
Traha 4 dias para Simão. El outro opção para por bawa Kico o resultado portar. Várias companhias na América estão probando isso aqui com um empregado não. Vacina hay vista de tipo de schedule com persona lota preferir para traha. Algum experto a reaccionar bisando que traha 4 dias para Simão não tem melhor opção para turgente. Iván Rodríguez de CNN tiene último detalle de una encuesta más reciente.
Once considered a fantasy, more and more companies are experimenting with the 4-day work week, testing what's always been the norm.
There were obviously benefits for individuals in the sense of having more time for family, rest and recovery.
But the benefits don't stop with the employees.
Having those boundaries really encourages companies to think about their processes, make them work more effectively, and make them more resilient and sustainable organizations.
When people were asked how different options would impact their well-being at work, 77% of U.S. workers said a 4-day, 40-hour work week would have a positive impact, according to a new Gallup survey. But experts say those 10-hour days could lead to burnout.
It's a question of, do you like a 3-day weekend more than you hate 10-hour work days?
The COVID-19 pandemic forced employers to embrace work from home and hybrid options. But now economic uncertainty is leading large companies to order their employees to return to the office. So would a 4-day work week ever be embraced by the corporate world?
We've seen a divergence between the largest companies really doubling down against flexibility over the past few months, but flexibility is still thriving among smaller and mid-sized businesses that are using that benefit, and flexibility is a benefit, as a way to attract workers who wouldn't necessarily consider them otherwise.
I'm Ivan Rodriguez reporting.
Aldric Werleman, Telenoticia.